Hello, good morning, friends and members of St. Martin Lutheran Church. This is Pastor Jim here with my daily devotion. I guess you call it a devotion. A couple things announcement wise. Thank you, everyone who joined us last night for our service at 5 o'clock. Um, and again, thank you so much for all the people who made that streaming possible. They've worked a lot, put in a lot of hours and a lot of time, and I, for the most part, had nothing to do with that. I just kind of show up and say words. So thank you again for that. And also announcements as we go into the plan now is, as you know, pretty much everything is going to be shut down until the middle part of April and perhaps longer than that. We have no intention of opening the building before April 13th. So what that means is all of our services for Holy Week and probably for Easter will be online and online only, but we'll be having Maundy Thursday service as well as Good Friday service online. We're going to keep it at 5 o'clock and as well as a 9 a.m. service on Easter. That's the plan anyway for now, and hopefully things would, who knows, maybe things will change by then. Hello, Marilyn, Alicia, and Judy. Good to see you as well. This morning, a difficult morning, and I always want to be careful not to be narcissistic and always think about myself. But difficult morning this morning, spending time with the residents at Wellspring Lutheran in Frankenmuth. Normally, when I'm there, I do a chapel service in the chapel or upstairs, and with the precautions we're having to take, there's no groups in the home, and I imagine other nursing facilities are doing the same. And as well as there's no visitors, so the residents don't get to see their family members. They don't get to see their spouses or their children, and it's difficult. It's a reminder that you and I live in community, and even the most introverted of us, the ones who value our personal and quiet time, understand what it means to have to be disconnected. And I consider myself amazingly blessed. One, that I find myself in my professional life busier than maybe I've been in some time over the last couple of weeks, but as well as I have the amazing blessing of going home and being with my family every day, with my wife and my wonderful children, who I say wonderful because we're all getting a little bit of cabin fever. Um, they're getting sick of me. I'm not sick of them, but they're quite sick of me at this point, and that's okay. And that's okay. But my heart goes out to those people who are disconnected from their families right now, and our hope and our prayer that this swiftly comes to an end and we can get back to our regular lives. But for now, we're going to do what we need to do to stay safe, to keep that curve down. And again, remember why we're doing all these precautions is to protect the most vulnerable. Because frankly, if I were to get the coronavirus at one point, I could care less. Even if I died, right? Even if I died, I'd get to be with Jesus all that much sooner. However, it's not just about me. It's about all the people I come into contact with, members of the church, the people I work with, my family, my neighbors, and God forbid I should somehow contract this virus and unknowingly pass it on to someone else. That's why we're taking all these precautions to protect those most vulnerable. But in thinking this today, this week, the psalm for this week and the fifth Sunday in Lent is Psalm 130. And it's such a popular psalm that they gave it its own name years ago, De Profundis, which in the Latin means out of the depths. And they would say, yeah, let's sing the De Profundis. So I read for you Psalm 130. Out of the depths I cry to you, O Lord. O Lord, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to the voice of my pleas for mercy. If you, O Lord, should mark iniquities, O Lord, who could stand? But with you there is forgiveness, that you may be feared. I wait for the Lord. My soul waits, and in his word I hope. My soul waits for the Lord more than watchmen for the morning, more than watchmen for the morning. O Israel, hope in the Lord, for with the Lord there is steadfast love, and with him is plentiful redemption, and he will redeem Israel from all his iniquities. Psalm 130 is a classic lament psalm, meaning the person has a particular problem and they're crying out to the Lord. And often lament psalms end with the beginning is the complaint, if you will, what's troubling the person, and then it concludes with a statement of faith or a statement of trust. And this psalm in particular, a couple people, John Wesley, on the same day that he wrote that he gave his life over to Christ when his heart was warmed, that later that day he went to St. Paul's Cathedral, and it was there they sang the De Profundis, the Out of the Depths, Psalm 130. And it was there that John Wesley would later write that this psalm was very important to opening people's hearts to the salvation of Christ. And even Luther himself, so overcome by his own sins, if you know the story of Luther, he couldn't sleep. So overcome was he of his own sin that Charles Spurgeon writes about this, an encounter that Luther had with his confessor. He would practice daily confession, and his confessor, looking to Luther and seeing the weight of his sin, they read Psalm 130, and then he asked him some questions, and then there was a but after every question. And it was, now it may be that you have sinned many times, but there is forgiveness. Though a child of God, you have gone astray and perhaps gone very far from him, but there is forgiveness. Maybe you have backslidden horribly in your own personal and spiritual life, but there is forgiveness. And though the devil comes and howls at you and tells you that your doom is sealed and that your damnation is sure, but there is forgiveness. And then later Luther would go on to write, "Oh, blessed sentence, there is forgiveness." So our song for today, In the Garden. Now, a lot of people might not think they know this song, but once we get to the refrain, then everybody knows this song. You might not know the verses, but you'll certainly know the refrain. I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear calling on my ear, the Son of God discloses, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. He speaks, and the sound of his voice is so sweet, the birds hush their singing, and the melody that he gave to me within my heart is ringing. And he walks with me, and he as we tarry now, none other has ever known. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord look upon you with favor and give you peace. Receive the Lord's blessing and be a blessing to others. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.